Am I the a-hole for letting my friend stay with us, then refusing to give her boyfriend our guest room? So, this all started a few weeks ago and things have escalated fast. I, 29F, live with my husband, 31M, in a modest 3-bedroom house. One room is ours, one is my husband's office, he WFH full-time, and the third is a guest room/storage space. We keep it clean and functional for visitors. Enter my friend Tessa, 28F. We've been friends since college, and while she's always been a little chaotic, I've generally tried to be there for her. 3 weeks ago, she called me crying. She'd broken up with her long-term boyfriend, was suddenly without a place to stay, and asked if she could crash with us for a week or 2 max. I checked with my husband, and we both agreed to let her use the guest room until she got back on her feet. Week 1 was fine. She was a bit messy, but nothing outrageous. She cooked dinner once, bought some groceries, and mostly kept to herself. But by week 2, things started getting weird. She started talking to her ex again. Suddenly, she wasn't looking for apartments anymore and was constantly on the phone with him. Then, last weekend, she asked me if her ex, now apparently her boyfriend again, could also stay in the guest room, just for a few nights. I said no. For context, this guy, let's call him Brad, is not someone I want in my house. They've broken up and gotten back together at least 6 times in 2 years. He's rude, loud, drinks too much, and I've seen how he treats Tessa, controlling and emotionally manipulative. I've told her before that I'm concerned for her, but she waves it off. Anyway, I told her I wasn't comfortable with him staying here. Not even for a night. My husband backed me up 100%. Tessa got upset, said I was being judgmental and unfair, and accused me of dangling the guest room over her head. She said I offered her help and now I'm gatekeeping it. I told her again that she is welcome to stay here for another week or so, but Brad is not. Period. She stormed out that night, stayed at his place for a few days, and now she's texting me saying she might come back, but wants to know if I've changed my mind about Brad. I said no, and now she's ghosting me. My husband thinks we should start setting a hard deadline for her to leave. I feel bad because I did offer her a place to stay, and I know she doesn't have a ton of options right now. But I feel like letting him stay would be crossing a serious boundary for us. So, am I the a-hole for letting my friend stay, but refusing to let her boyfriend in? So, here's what happened next. About 3 days after my last post, Tessa showed back up at our house. No warning, just knocked on the door in the evening with a duffel bag, saying she couldn't deal with Brad's place anymore and needed to crash. She looked exhausted, and I didn't have it in me to turn her away. We let her back in with the explicit understanding that Brad was not allowed over, and this would be a short-term stay only. Things were okay for like 36 hours. Then my husband caught someone trying to sneak in through our back gate around midnight. Guess who? Yep, Brad. He was clearly drunk or high or both. My husband confronted him, and Brad started yelling, demanding to see Tessa, saying she wasn't answering his calls and that she was just playing games. Tessa heard the shouting, came outside, and tried to calm him down, but Brad refused to leave. My husband ended up calling the police. It didn't escalate to violence, but it got ugly. Brad bailed before they showed up, but the whole thing was terrifying. My husband was furious. We felt completely disrespected and honestly unsafe in our own home. We told Tessa the next morning that this had crossed a hard line and she needed to leave. Not in a few days. That day, she cried, begged, and swore up and down that she hadn't invited him, that he must have followed her or something. I believed her, halfway. But I was done. We gave her 24 hours to make other arrangements. She ended up leaving that night. No big goodbye. Just packed her stuff and left while we were out getting groceries. I thought that would be the end of it. Wrong. Yesterday, I got a group text from Tessa. She sent a long, dramatic message to me, my husband, and a few mutual friends, basically painting us as selfish and judgmental. She said we pretended to help her when really we just wanted control, and that we never accepted her relationship. She even threw in a line about how we were fake allies. Still no idea what that meant. Our friends are split. Some are staying out of it. A couple think I was too harsh, that Tessa didn't have anywhere else to go, and I should have been more understanding. One even said I escalated things by calling the cops and made Brad look worse than he is. But others are on our side. They saw how messy this has been for years. Still, now I'm questioning things. Could I have handled this better? Did I give up on her too fast? I genuinely wanted to help her. But it feels like the more I tried, the more chaos I invited into our home. So, Reddit, maybe I was anti at first. But now I'm wondering, Wibda for cutting her off completely? I don't know if this friendship is even fixable at this point. So, after Tessa left and sent that dramatic group text, I expected radio silence or maybe the occasional vague subtweet. Instead, Brad showed up again. Not at our house, thank God, but at my workplace. I work in a small design firm, nothing flashy. We're on the third floor of a shared office building. I was heading out for lunch when Brad was waiting by my car in the lot. I didn't even see him at first, just heard someone say my name. When I looked up, it was him leaning against my driver's side door like it was totally normal. He smiled. That smug, slow smile that guys like him do when they know they're making you uncomfortable. I froze. I asked what he wanted. He said, and I quote, "Just wanted to talk. You're trying to come between me and Tessa. You've always been jealous of what we have." I told him to leave, immediately. He just laughed and said I owed Tessa better than this. I was so shaken I just turned and went back inside, locked the door behind me, and called my husband from my office. Brad was gone by the time anyone got downstairs. I filed a police report. Again. They can't do much without a direct threat, but at least it's on file now. My boss was understanding and told me to work from home the rest of the week, but honestly, I felt violated. Creeped out. I still do. That night, I sent Tessa one final message. Here's roughly what I wrote. Tessa, I don't know what you've told Brad, but showing up at my job was completely inappropriate and crossed every boundary imaginable. I've always tried to support you, even when it was hard, even when I didn't agree with your choices. But this isn't okay. I can't have either of you in my life anymore. I wish you well, but please don't contact me again. She hasn't replied. At least, not directly. Instead, I started getting DMs from her sister, who I barely know, calling me heartless, saying I abandoned family in crisis, and accusing me of trying to destroy Tessa's relationship because I was bored. Oh, and someone, I'm guessing Brad, left a 1-star review on my husband's freelance business page, saying he was violent and hostile to guests. Thankfully, we were able to report and remove it, but we're now locking down all our social media and personal info. As of this writing, we're considering a no-contact order if Brad shows up again. I honestly hope it doesn't come to that. I've known Tessa for almost 10 years. I thought she'd grow out of the chaos. I hoped she would. But I think she's so deep in this toxic mess with Brad that anyone who doesn't enable it is seen as the enemy. I feel heartbroken. And stupid. And angry. Mostly angry. For anyone who's ever been in a situation where helping a friend turns into a full-blown nightmare, yeah, I get it now. About a week after Brad showed up at my workplace, we got a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside? A handwritten note in Sharpie, barely legible, that said, "You're a snake. People like you ruin everything. Hope it was worth it." It wasn't signed, but we know exactly who it came from. I reported it, again. This time, the officer I spoke to was more direct. Since we had the prior police reports and the letter, handwriting plus fingerprints possibly, if needed, he said we had enough to file for a restraining order. We did. Against Brad. It was approved. He's legally barred from contacting me or my husband in any form for the next year. If he violates it, he's done. That felt like the first real moment of control we'd had in weeks. After we filed the order, I reached out one last time, not to talk, but to send her a message through a mutual friend, one of the few still speaking to both of us. Brad showed up at my job, then sent us a threatening letter. We filed for a restraining order. This isn't drama. This is safety. Please respect the distance. I didn't expect her to respond. She didn't. But she posted a long story on Instagram a few days later about losing fake friends and finally cutting toxic people out of her life. It was clearly about us, tagged vaguely, but obvious. That hurt more than I expected. But honestly, it also made the decision easier. We've cut ties with Tessa and blocked her and her sister on all platforms. The friends who took her side mostly went quiet after the restraining order was granted. 2 even apologized to me privately, saying they didn't know how serious it had gotten. We've secured our house, our online presence, and emotionally, we're moving forward. I thought being a good friend meant being available at all costs, dropping everything, saying yes, and sticking it out even when things got hard. But sometimes, helping someone who doesn't want help only burns everyone involved. Tessa didn't need a couch. She needed therapy, boundaries, and probably years of untangling her identity from a manipulative partner. But I can't do that for her. No one can except her. We did the right thing. And we do it again. But next time, the boundary would come sooner. So, Reddit, thanks. You helped me realize I wasn't crazy for standing my ground. And you reminded me that being the bad guy in someone's story doesn't always mean you did the wrong thing. Sometimes, it means you finally did the right one. If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.